It's me, Cappy. My mommy is the best. SuperMom will be next. She helps mommy. It makes Milo's back. Your dick goes back. And his wife go back. You wait for the straw. Brush. Get ready for it's super ugly. Not super squat.
All right, welcome back to another exciting episode of Healing for the Soul podcast, sponsored by myself, Robin Stoltman, with this being season number 6, episode number 18. If you are ever looking for a virtual assistant who can edit your social media content, grow your social medias, book clients, and much more that all businesses require, I highly recommend Sphere Rocket for all your virtual assistant needs. The link to Sphere Rocket is at the bottom of this episode. Before you get started, I'm your host, Robin Stoltman, and every week I feature different guests to help you become the best version of yourself through different methods you may not have heard of or even thought of. So you want to make sure that you subscribe and like and share this podcast, as well as keep coming back for more. And so today, I am talking about the power of the mind, part 2. Last time, you heard me with one of my children. I'm trying to remember the episode myself offhand, I'm just saying. So many things in life. So I'm talking about the power of the mind and creating lasting change to build leaders. Okay, you can tell that my children are very much being led by an excellent leader. And I know for a fact that they're being led by an excellent leader as well. Why? Because of how I'm doing the upbringing now. See, my children, they're all sponges, like all children's are. So from the time of conception, meaning they're inside the womb, till about 8 years old, is when they start taking in all the information. And so what this means for me right now, as I'm parenting my children, I am using the power of their subconscious mind to train them, as the Bible verse goes, train a child up the way they shall go, and when they get older, they shall not depart from it. Now, with my children, I'm using their subconscious mind right now to teach them that they are a powerful woman of God, in Sadie's case, in my boys' case, a powerful man of God. I am teaching them that because that is the truth of who they are. I'm also teaching my children that I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength, which is another Bible verse, because it's the truth. So I am filling my children with the truth that comes out of the wonderful, most amazing book ever that every single self-help book has ever been based on, known as the Holy Bible. Where I'm using this is to help them build their self-esteem, their confidence. I'm also teaching them about the truths, because the truth, there's facts can change, opinions change, data, science changes, but there's one truth that will always remain the same, is what Jesus Christ in the Holy Bible, what he says about you and what he says about me. Everything else can change in this world, and we know this because change is inevitable. However, the Word of God will never change. So when I'm talking about creating lasting change to build leaders, that's truly why I'm doing this now for my children. Was I brought up that way? Certainly not. We won't go there about how I was brought up. I was brought up in dysfunction. We'll call it what it is. I was brought up in dysfunction. I was not raised correctly at all whatsoever. Why? Because my parents. That's where it stems from. So I was never told these things that were true about me. I had to find it along the way in my journey in life. Hence why it's been a witch, to change the behaviors, the patterns, the thoughts in my mind, is because that Bible verse, we go back to it, train a child up the way they shall go, and when they get older, they will not depart from it. That's why change is such a witch. We're going to start with the subconscious mind. So the time of conception to 8 years old, you're building this critical mind filter. What you're really doing in this filter is that you're programming your child with all the beliefs, the habits, the emotions. They're watching you and what you're doing more than what you say. If you have children at all whatsoever, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You tell your child, quit hitting the cat, quit hitting your brother, quit hitting your sister. My God, could you just stop for 2 seconds on something? I'm just saying. I'm speaking the reality right now for every single parent out there that's been there, okay? Maybe you've got it easy because you've got less than 3 kids. That is easy in my book. Just stating the case, the facts. Evidence doesn't lie on that one. I've got 7 living children. The oldest is 10, the youngest is 18 months, and I've got another one coming. I know exactly what I'm talking about. And did I mention that I'm running a very successful business, very successful global brand, Healing for the Soul? There's a reason for that. Now, where I'm going with this is I didn't always have it this way, but I'm programming my children now to avoid all the things that I've already had the experience of, like sexual abuse, mental abuse. I've had trauma. I've had a lot of it in my life. So would I want to tell my children any of that stuff? No. Are my kids learning some of the things that I've gone through? No, they don't need to. But here's what they are learning. They're learning that cops are good. Did I learn that as a child? Certainly not. I learned it the factual experience way that cops are not good. The profession, okay? But am I teaching my children that? No. The reason is because my children, they have a fresh slate. They have the ability, when they get older, through their own experiences from this time of conception to 8 years old, they will form an opinion all on their own without me having to do it, without me having to tell them what I have been through. The cops aren't good. They will experience that on their own. So I'm choosing to let my children have that experience and make a good or bad, however they want to see it, in their life. Now, being a good leader, that I am, I'm letting my children decide that decision on their own. Of course, there's not everything you want to do that with a child, and I get that concept. What I'm saying is I'm using a real life example of why would I, as a good mom, want my children to have to go through what I've gone through and then not explain when they don't have the experience that I have had with cops. So why would they want that? And my experience, my first experience with cops literally came when I was about 6 or 7 years old, right in this critical mind filter. So right at that critical moment, the critical factor of conception to 8 years old, I was about 6 or 7. Cops took and got me out of my nice warm bed in the middle of the night because my biological dad decided that he was going to show up late for his visit, and then he wanted to get cops involved because, well, he wanted to take and have his visit yet. So what I learned at that time was that as a child, what I wanted, which was to stay asleep, you missed your visit, not my problem. What I learned as a child was that I was forced against my will to go on a visit that I should not have had to have gone on. Plain and simple. That's what I learned as a child. So that was my first bad experience with a cop. Was I was forced to do something I did not want to do. Okay? So that experience, my children, they don't have that experience. They've got their mom and dad together. They don't got divorced parents like I got. So when that happened, why would I, as a good mother, tell my children the cops are bad? Like, I wouldn't do that. Let them form the opinion on their own. That's an example of why I say that part of it. Now, building these leaders and creating leaders, I'm letting them decide on that. But there's certain things like the truth of who they are. Like I started this in the beginning. I tell my children who they are, because I know the importance of building that self-esteem, building that self-confidence. Because I can tell you right now, you can really tell once you're really good at learning and studying and understanding people and their behaviors and who they are and what they do. You can pick out, I'm so good now that I can pick out a confident doctor from a not confident doctor just in their actions, the way they carry themselves, the way they talk about something. You can tell whether or not a doctor is confident or not. And believe me, with 8 C-sections, I want a confident doctor. I don't want the doctor that's like, I don't know if we should do this. I've been there, done that. And I'm like, yeah, no. Because what I learned now has helped me in still being able to have more children, because obviously I have to have C-sections. Okay? My body doesn't work for that part, and I know that. But here's where I'm going with this. In the subconscious mind, we have our knowns and we have our unknowns. The knowns are something we've already experienced. My children, in case, when we're building leaders, I'm talking the kids, like I said, they know right now they have had the good and the bad experiences, which is a positive to the brain. They've seen when mommy has failed. They've seen when mommy's had success. They've seen both. So in their mind right now, that's still a positive either way. Okay? The negative or the unknown, which the brain runs away from, which is anxiety. The doctors like to hook people up on anxiety meds. I used to be one of them, so I know what I'm talking about. The anxiety, that's that fear of unknown. Anything the brain does not know, it runs away from. It says, get out of here. We don't want to do this. That's why when you're trying to make a change in your life, you're like, yeah, I want to be 10 pounds, 50 pounds. Oh, shit. I want to be 100 pounds lighter, okay? The brain says, well, let me look in that file. Oh my gosh. Have you seen your file? I'm losing weight. That ain't gonna happen. We can try that. But that works about as good as your New Year's resolutions do they not? Yeah, so you said now you want to be a leader. You don't know the first thing about leading is what the brain's telling you, and it's absolutely right. Because if you've never had the experience of being under a good leader, you don't know the first thing about leadership. This is why we get into corporations, the CEOs, the HR, the supervisors that don't have a clue what they're doing, but they're acting like as if they're all that in a bag of chips. I've dealt with that for bosses as well and supervisors as well. The reason why they're so bad at it is because they have little to no experience in developing themselves. They also tend not to value people. At the end of the day, all people really want is to be seen, heard, and valued. And I can guarantee you right now, a lot of employers do not do that. A lot of people think it's all about the money, and it is not. They won't admit that because, well, they just won't. People think the money makes the world go around. No, it does not. What makes the world go around is what can I do to help somebody else get what they want? Like what it's been said before, help enough people get what they want, and it comes back to you. It always does. So in this model, we're building leaders, we're creating leaders. I've given you plenty of examples of that. Now, what are 5 tips that I have to create your children while they're still young, before age 8, to be a young leader? Tip number 1, tell them the truth of who they are, that they are powerful woman or man of God. Remember, number 2, remember the Bible verse. Train a child up the way they shall go, and when they get older, they will not depart from it. You can use hypnosis, yes, because hypnosis will take this 5% logic, reasoning, willpower. Say they want to be a leader, okay? They get older. They got a job promotion that they want to do. They want to be a supervisor and they want to move on. They want to do more. But at the same time, they keep self-sabotaging themselves for a damn good reason, because you as the parent chose to not build them up in their self-esteem, their belief system, and who they are. That does come down to the parents. You cannot blame the school, even though I know a lot of parents blame the school. They like to blame other people for their problems, but it's the parents, because how do parents talk to themselves? Tells the child how to talk to themselves. You're a mom, you're a dad, and you say, oh, I'm so stupid, I screwed up. What the hell was I thinking? The child gets older. I'm so stupid, I screwed up. What the hell was I thinking? Now they're a teenager and they're a problem for you all of a sudden. They're showing you, they're reflecting you, parts of you that need to change as the parent. That's all the child's doing. Okay, like even my child with autism that's 8 years old, okay? He is reflecting back to me some of the things that I need to change. And because I'm so smart and I know what I'm doing as a parent, I'm able to pick that up and say, you know what, you're right. I need to change some of these things that I'm doing, so this way I get a better reflection of what I want to see in me. And he does bring up some of those things because, again, I've been through trauma. So is it my fault? No, it goes back to my parents. Calling it what it is. We call a spade a spade. But it is my responsibility to go and change the subconscious behaviors, the patterns, the habits, the emotions, the meanings that I have attached to those problems that I was dealing with as a child. And that's where a lot of people fail to understand. So when you're trying to create a leader, was I always a leader? Yes, pretty much. I've always been a leader because I've always gone out and accomplished and do more. That's just who I've always been, because that's how I survived growing up in the household that I grew up in. Okay. So what I'm getting at is, when you're wanting creating your children to be leaders, okay, I gave you 2 tips already. I gave you a 3rd tip already. Watch how you talk to yourself if you didn't catch that 3rd tip. Tip number 4, if you want to create a leader, got all my bells and whistles. Tip number 4, if you want to be able to create your children to be leaders now, start reading them Think and Grow Rich. Study Think and Grow Rich. Go line by line. See, the thing about Think and Grow Rich, you get people that say, oh, it's all capitalism. Capitalism is bad. To hell if it is. I'm going to tell you this right now. Because we have capitalism, you are based in this world about how much you work, what you put out there, what you're doing. And the most powerful people that are billionaires, that are millionaires, I've talked to them. I've talked to them quite regularly, actually. I'm talking to a billionaire quite often. And I've talked to plenty of millionaires and 6-figure earners. Here's what they've all told me across the board. What you say to yourself is everything. Another thing they've said is read and study Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich for a reason. See, Think and Grow Rich has made the most millionaires out of any other book known to man. A lot of his principles come from the Bible. Just telling you where a lot of them come from. And I've picked up the book of Proverbs, to be exact. If you really want to go there, it's book of Proverbs. Book of Proverbs makes sense because it's the book of wisdom. It also tells you how to live your life. Just saying. So, tip number 5 is that if you want to build a leader, you yourself as a parent have to see yourself as a leader. Because see, children, whether you like it or not, when you have children, you are their leader. Everything you do, you're going to reproduce in that child. So I know I've heard the argument before about alcoholics. Okay, well, if that's the case, then why did one son turn out to be an alcoholic and why not the other one? Well, gee, this is why. The child that turns out to be an alcoholic, like one of the alcoholics in the home, which I grew up with the one adopted dad, that's a stepdad. He was an alcoholic, okay? So what I learned from him was sacrifice. We had to sell everything for that next drop of devil's brew, because that's what alcohol is. It's devil's brew, nothing more, nothing less. That's what it is. I have never seen anything positive come out of alcohol. I just never have. And that's the truth. And I'm 100% sure till this day, even at 39 years old, I still have never seen anybody say, yeah, alcohol was the best damn thing since sliced bread. It saved my life. It doesn't. And I know that. I'm smart enough, old enough to know that. Why I'm going there is in this scenario, why one child becomes an alcoholic and the other one doesn't. I saw bad things that came from it. I saw sexual abuse. I saw mental, emotional abuse. I saw those things as a result of alcohol. I saw social services as a child not do anything to help me as a child. I saw the cops in Alexandria, Minnesota, where I grew up, also not do anything when I was a child reporting. I saw the school not do anything. So would I drink alcohol? Nope. Have I? Yes. Would I do it again? Nope. Because what I learned was I don't want to be worthless like that. Now let's switch to the other one. The child who becomes an alcoholic. They would have saw that, hey, I'm getting my family and friends to help me. I'm soaking them for money. I'm able to use and abuse them for money. I'm able to see all the good things that are coming out of this ordeal. I mean, we'll use my example, my real life example that I've been through. What was the good side of seeing an alcoholic that was sexually abusing and doing mental, emotional abuse and never getting in trouble for it? Okay. So the alcoholic would have said, well, that's good. You can drink alcohol. You can drink and drive, never get in trouble. You can take and sexually abuse, mentally abuse, verbally abuse somebody and never get in trouble. The people believe the adults who can lie and manipulate their asses off. I like this. And then I'm still getting money. It's what we call a secondary gain. That secondary gain for the person that grows up to be an alcoholic is all the things I just mentioned. They don't get in trouble. They don't get anything thrown at them. They don't have to hit that hard reality of losing their license. They don't get caught. Nothing like that happens. And even if they do get caught, guess what? They still go out and do the same behavior simply because they've learned that this behavior gets them attention. It's really why they do it, is for the attention, because they saw all the attention go on that alcoholic, because that person was the victim that needed the attention, and that's why it exists. And they're also running away from emotional pain that they've gone through in their life, and they can't figure out why. But again, how the healthcare sick care system operates, how the drug companies operate, how the drug rehab operate. They're $1 billion industry because they make money from never teaching people how to do things on their own. Whereas myself, I'm like, you know what? I want to empower people to learn the tools, to do this stuff on their own, become a better version of themselves. And that's why I'm like, my top priority is not to earn money. Believe me, I'm attracted to helping people. Yes, it's going to cost money. Yes, I'm not saying that it isn't, because I don't do charity work. But what I am saying is this. There's a reason why insurance will never cover the cost of hypnosis. There's a reason why a lot of people don't know about it, and why they won't do it is because the fear factor that has been pushed onto them since birth. Since birth, we are all programmed to believe that the doctors are God, the MD is minor or major deity. We are taught that anybody with a white lab coat is smarter. They know what they're doing. They know how to help you. But anybody else that teaches you how to use the power of your own mind to break free from your own problems, including things like infertility, fibromyalgia, these things that I've broke through, We are programmed to not think outside the box. Go back to Rockefeller, go read it all up. The school system, that's a whole other thing for a whole other day. What I'm getting is that you want to be able to have a better leader. You want to be able to have your life improve. The only way you're going to be able to do it is at the subconscious mind. And I have found when I use the Bible verses in the hypnosis sessions, I have found that my clients actually go through 1 to 3 sessions for most of them. Sometimes it is 5 sessions, like anxiety, that's 5 sessions, okay? But if we get certain issues, depending upon what they are, the rate of them making progress to heal goes so much faster whenever we use the Bible. Why? Because, again, we go back to it's the truth of who you are. And bringing in those truths always work in the subconscious mind. So before we close our show today, I want to remind everybody that I am your host, Robin Stoltman. I am also wanting you to know to be sure to subscribe and share Healing for the Soul podcast with everybody you know. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Let's get this conversation going, because what do you want to have in your children as leaders says a lot about your legacy that you are leaving behind. Do you want to leave a good legacy about, yeah, my children, they had the best mom and best dad, and we did a lot of things with our kids, that we paid attention to them? Or do you want to be like the average parent who is just like, give my kid a phone, I'm overwhelmed. They call it overstimulated nowadays. I was like, what the hell is that? And they've got it easy. They've got less than 3 kids. And I'm just like, oh my God, you guys need Jesus. You guys need a lot of help. I tell you what, you don't know how to self-regulate your emotions. I do. That's one of the benefits of hypnosis. You learn how to self-regulate your emotions, because I certainly was not taught about it when I was a kid. No, but I can tell you it's very powerful to know how to do these skills to create leaders that actually change the world. And I know my children will. So the power of the mind, part 2. I'm telling you right now, be sure to share, let everybody know about this episode, because it is life-changing once you start to think about it. So I encourage you to follow myself, Robin Stoltman, on social media, also Healing for the Soul Plus. And thank you for your time and energy while listening to today's episode of Healing for the Soul podcast.
That's all for now, folks. Thanks for listening to Thank You for Fun. Tap that follow button. Subscribe. Quack, quack. Bye-bye. Wow, next time. Now you got it.